All of you have heard of Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. He also wrote The Laws of Success and a number of other motivational books. W. Clement Stone, after reading Think and Grow Rich, became a protege of Mr. Hill's. And they became very close friends, and they authored some books together. It was my good fortune to become intimately acquainted with both of these men. Napoleon Hill became a patient. I x-rayed his spine. I adjusted him, learned to love him. He and Mr. Stone both have enriched my life and influenced my actions in many, many ways for good and for success. But they did not and have not influenced me nearly as much as the man whose name I'm going to call in just a few minutes. Being a chiropractor, I have introduced a number of doctors at various types of gatherings. But I want to tell you today, I'm going to introduce to you one of the greatest doctors I have had the privilege of knowing. And I want you to help me to welcome the great doctor of network marketing, Dr. Dale Calvert.
Thanks, guys. It's been an awesome day. Awesome day. I hate to follow what we've heard. Not a whole lot more you can add, you know. We had the opportunity last night to travel around to some of the receptions. Quite a few. And at one of those, there was a group that we just ran upon. We hadn't even had plans going there. It was a group in Tony Roma's. It was Kathy Fleener and her organization, and Kelly Stodgel and some of those people. There's 30 people there from Wisconsin. Or 30 people. 27 of them, it was their first ever conference. And they had fire in their eyes. I was talking with Lowell. Lowell was going around with us for Canada. He said, Dale, he said, that group made it all worth it. I didn't think a whole lot about it, but I got back to my room last night, and I got to bed at about 1 o'clock, and I couldn't get to sleep. My mind kicked in. I started tossing and turning, and I thought to myself, yeah, they got fire in their eyes, and we saw a lot of people last night. Why don't they all have the fire in their eyes? See, you got to get the fire in your eyes. If you don't get it this weekend, I really don't think you're ever going to get it. I love what Burke Hedges says, what a difference a day makes. What a difference a day makes. What a difference 3 days can make. I told Stephanie in the car last night, I said, I hope that we'll be able to look back on this conference, and there'll be thousands of people in this conference this weekend that can look back on these 3 days and said, those were my 3 days. I said, I really feel that if they don't get it after these 3 days, they ain't never going to get it. Do you got it yet? All my life I've been inspired by people that achieve greatness. I don't know why. I don't know why. But it's always intrigued me what makes somebody run. What makes somebody say, I don't want to be average. And I love what Bert said yesterday. He said, successful people are just average people with above average determination. They're average people, guys. They're just like you and me. Man, I can remember when I'm sitting where you were, sitting there looking at the people like there's something special. And I didn't realize the whole time that I had in me what they had. They just been doing it longer. See, some of you got to understand it's already in you. You come here trying to find it, you already got it. You already got the determination. You just got to put the action behind it. Because you already got everything you need to be here. I keep having to tell the nationals all the time because we don't understand, you know, my friends here. I keep telling these guys, you got to understand, we are them now. Because we used to come to these conferences and we would sit back and we would look at these people walk across the stage and it blows our mind because we are them now. You got to have in your mind, I will be one of them soon because it's already in me. It's already here. It's already here. There's a show that comes on at about 2:30 in the morning. And I watch it. I got hooked on it. Now I sit there and do paperwork. I can't call anybody. Well, I shouldn't say that. I get quite a few calls at 2:30. But I sit there and I'll do paperwork or whatever. And I love the. It's called Biography. It's on A&E. And I've got hooked on this. I want to start getting the video so at least I can get on a treadmill and watch it. But I've been watching some of these, and I've always been intrigued why people go on to do great things in their life. And I was thinking about Sylvester Stallone. Here's a guy kind of like me. Didn't talk very well. He understood what he was saying, but not too many other people did. And he had a dream. And that dream was, I'm going to star in my own movie. Nobody would hire him as an actor, so he wrote the movie himself, for himself. Went to over 100 directors. They all laughed him out of the offices. There's no way. You an actor? You got to be kidding. You can't even talk. One director said, I like the script. I tell you what, I'll give you $200,000 for it. And there was Sylvester Stallone living in a shack, eating ketchup soup, starving to death, and he had an offer right on the table for $200,000. But what I love is he held to his dream. He said, no, I wrote this for me, and if it's ever going to be a movie, then I'm going to be the guy in the movie. He held to his dream. A lot of you came in this business with awesome dreams. Awesome dreams. And you got to a level where you're making $1,000, $2,000 a month. You bought a new car. You're walking around with a name badge that says you're something. And the question I got for you, have you sold out on your dream? Don't you settle for less than you came here for. Some of you need to go back and remember why you came here in the first place. You need to go back and get out your family pictures and think about those grandkids. Think about those family members. Don't you settle for less than you can become just because you're walking around with a name badge that says you're somebody. He went on. Finally, the movie was made, and you all know it was Rocky. The rest is history. What if you don't go on? What if you don't fulfill your purpose? What if you don't fulfill your dream? What could have happened that won't happen? Don't get satisfied and don't ever become less than you become. I think about Phyllis Diller. I love this story. Phyllis Diller was in her 40s. She still had kids at home, single parent working 2, 3 jobs. She was cleaning office buildings late at night. And one night she was cleaning an office building and she poured out the trash and she was emptying the trash and she looked, and in that trash can that she had just dumped was a book. She reached in there and pulled out that book. And that book was The Magic of Thinking Big. And she took it home and she read it, and it touched her, and she got inspired. And she said, you know, when I was in school, I used to make people laugh. And she went down to the comedy club on amateur night, and she did her first stand-up routine, and she kept doing it, and the rest is history. The question I've always wondered is, who threw the book in the trash can, and where are they today? Think about it. Who threw the book in the trash can? Probably the truck driver that Jim was talking about earlier today. What inspires people to greatness? I look at Andy Griffith, and there's so many people that have been inspired to greatness. I think about Ty Cobb, stole more bases than anybody in baseball history, and that's what we know him for, but he also got thrown out more than anybody else. Babe Ruth hit more home runs than anybody in history except Hank Aaron, but he also struck out more than anybody else. People aren't going to remember your failures. They only remember your successes. When you become national director, it doesn't matter how long it took you to get there. Your check's going to cash just like everybody else's. The masses in the society today think that people that make it to the top were lucky. They were in the right place at the right time. They think that they never had any obstacles. They never had any problems. They never met any rejection. Somehow they had some magic foo-foo dust that somebody sprinkled on them, and they're just so lucky to be where they are. Makes me sick. I look at my relatives. They don't have any. They say, my gracious, my relatives are, some of the people that I go to church with, they have a problem. People have to justify why other people make it and they don't. They think that the people that make it just lucky, never had any heartaches, never had any setbacks, never had any rejection. Some of you may think that way. That's not the truth, guys. Man, that's not the truth. To go through just as much or more than anybody else. But is it worth it? Oh, is it worth it? You got to understand that it's worth it, but we all travel the same road. We all have to go down the same road. It is never easy, but it is always worth it. And you got to get it in your heart and in your soul. Man, you can't wait to get kicked in the teeth one more time, because that's just going to give you that much more determination to keep on charging. I can remember just saying, hit me one more time. I don't care, because I know I've won the game. See, you got to know that if you keep doing it, you're going to win the game. Let them keep hitting you in the teeth. It doesn't matter. You got to get to that point, guys. You got to get there. If this is the law, and this is the way it is, and this is what you got to go through to become successful, should it be any different for you? Should it be any different for you? Why do you want it to be? Why do you expect it to be? Say, well, Dale, I just thought that I could get in here and I could get out these videos and everybody I talked to was going to join, and I knew everybody buy the product, and I didn't realize there was this many ignorant people out there. Of course there is. 95% of the people that live in this country are going to end up dead or dead broke. You, new image, video, products, not going to change that. So there's no use in fighting it. Next. Napoleon Hill. I couldn't believe Dr. Paul's introduction. Napoleon Hill says, before success comes in any man's life, he's sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failures. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and most logical thing to do is quit. That's exactly what the majority of men do. What do quitters do? Quit. Harry Beecher Stowe says, never give up, for that is just a place and time when the tide will turn. Napoleon Hill again said, effort only fully releases its reward after a person refuses to quit. I love that. Effort only fully releases its reward after a person refuses to quit. And I'd like to say, after a person refuses to be denied. Refuses to be denied. Now there's some of you in this room that you got to get this point, because this is going to speak to a lot of you. Your lifetime in wherever we're at, New Image. You're going to be here for the rest of your life. You know that. You have decided that you're not going to quit. Now let me explain. You got to get this, guys. Some of you got to leave here and you got to get that thought out of your mind. The first paradigm that you must get to, and many of you are there, is that I will not quit. Some of you aren't there yet. Those of you that haven't decided, you need to decide right now that you will not quit. But listen to me. There's some of you that made that decision 1.5 years, 2 years ago, that you will not quit. Are you with me? It's time for you to graduate. You got to get to the next paradigm. And you got to go from I will not quit to I will not be denied. That's where you got to get to, guys. You got to get there. Confucius says our greatest glory is never in falling. Our greatest glory is never in falling, but rising every time you fall. Oh, I love, isn't that good? My daughter Brittany over here is an ice skater. And when she comes in from practice, I always ask her, Brittany, did you fall today? She says, yes, I fell. I say, fantastic. Fantastic. Because you got to fall every time. I said, Brittany, if you go to your lesson and you don't fall at least once, you aren't giving it all you got. I said, you got to get out there and your goal is to fall every class you go to. Because if you fall, then you're stretching. You're going for it. You're giving it all you got. Some of you in this room are afraid to fall. Man, it's great to fall because you can get back up that much more determined every time you do. You got to get that in your mind. Got to get that in your soul. Brian Hayes says, if you've got the guts to stick it out, you're going to make it. Calvin Coolidge says, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. That's where it's at, guys. Get persistent and decide that you will not be denied. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. In 1998, we got to focus on the rewards, not the work. There is no question that the rewards of this business are worth it. If you could only spend 30 days as a national director. 30 days. 30 days as a national. Where it gets real to you. I love what Brad Bradford says. I think some people come in this company, they don't think it's real. Man, it's real. The stories you hear, the people you get, they're real. If you could spend 30 days as a national director to get up every morning and decide whether you're going to roll out or roll over, to be able to go to your kids' class if you need to be able to go on vacation when and where you want to have the freedom to live your life the rest of your life without a boss and without an alarm clock. Man, if that don't fire you up, I mean, that is exciting. If you could live 30 days as a national, I'm convinced you'd get there in half the time. You would, because it would come real to you. But see, until you get to national director, until you get to the top of the mountain, the paradox is you can't see the other side. You can't see what's on the other side of the mountain till you get to the top of it. You can't feel how great it is. You can think about it, you can think you're experiencing it, but you got to get to the top of the mountain. I hope some of you get to the top of the mountain this year. I hope you decide, I'm going to the top of the mountain this year. This year. Most people think that the world owes them something. They live an undisciplined, uninspired life. They want to accomplish as much as they possibly can with as little as possible effort. And that's just not the way the world is. Now listen to this. Listen to this. This is probably one of the biggest, the second biggest things I hear when I go out and about doing regional meetings. People come up to me and shake my hand. Dale, I'm so glad you're here, and we appreciate you coming, and I'm never going to quit New Image. I love New Image. Read this. I wrote this. I don't want to miss a word. Please don't tell me you aren't going to quit. When you tell me you aren't going to quit, that's what you're telling yourself. Telling yourself you aren't going to quit will not help you accomplish a thing. Tell yourself you will not be denied. Then you won't have to tell me anything, because I'm already going to know it, because I'm going to see the fire in your eyes. This is the New Image Mountain. At the top of the mountain, we can try to explain it to you, but you've got to get there before you can fully see it. But once you get to the top of the mountain, you're going to be a new and better person. You're going to have thousands of meaningful friendships, financial security, not just for you and your family, but for generations. For generations. I love what Dr. Shirley said about his great-great-great-grandkids. Man, that's a vision that we all need to have. We need to understand it's just not us. What we do today will affect generations. You get world travel, total freedom. You can make a difference in people's lives. Respect from people that matter. Most of you are worried about what somebody thinks about you, and it doesn't matter what they think. Who are they? Who cares what a truck driver thinks? And nothing against truck drivers. I'm talking about Jim's specific truck driver. Y'all, okay. I don't want any letters to the office. Most important benefit is the person you become, and the personal satisfaction to know that I decided to not live my life filled with mediocrity. That I had the guts to stick it out and make it happen. Number one benefit, absolutely, in this business. It's a feeling that I wish for every single one of you. That I decided to shape my own future instead of letting somebody else shape it for me. That's where it's at. Talk about a couple people real quick. You guys see these people where they are? I've seen them where they've been. I look at Phil and Barbara Schuff. 4 years ago, Phil was flat broke, 2 daughters in college, gone through a heart attack. Frustrated. It's been 3 years in this industry. And how long did it take Phil to find his first leader? 4 years. 4 years. Some of you have been here 6 months, still get your thumb out of your mouth. Phil spent 3 years, night and day, working this thing as hard as anybody I've ever seen working it. Granted, he was a 3%er and doing it all wrong, but the bottom line was he was out there trying to make something happen. And then he was smart enough when he came in New Image to get plugged in, to follow a duplicatable system, to put aside his 3%er ways. And you know where that first leader came from that he talked about? From a 29-day call. Man, you see Phil where he is. I've seen him where he's at. You got to understand. Huh? Charge. Joey Morris, most of you have heard that story. Single mother on government assistance, paying credit cards. These are true, guys. You understand these are true? These are real people. If you go up and pinch them, they're going to yell. These are real people. They're just like you. What was the difference? They were ordinary people with extraordinary determination. Awesome what's happened with Joy. I look upon Marshall Lane, been in 20 plus network marketing companies. They weren't just burnt out on the industry, they were burnt out on life. They were burnt out on life. They were giving up. They'd gone through the worst part in their life, worst point in their life. They came to a national conference like this. I'd heard about them, but I'd never met them. And I remember when the conference was over, Joy grabbed me and she said, "Dale, I want you to meet Marshall Lane." And I remember looking at Marcia. We were out in the aisles right here. And when I looked at Marcia, she had the fire in her eyes. She had the fire in her eyes. And in just a few months, she was in the top money earners in this company. Man, you got to leave here with the fire in your eyes. The fire in your eyes. Oh. Next one. Anthony and Sheila Heflin. If there was anybody who was ever too nice to do this business, it was Anthony Heflin. Burnt out on this industry, in debt, bought a furniture store, 60 hours a week, fat and frustrated when we met him. I see Anthony today, and I see how far he's come. I see Sheila, how far she's come. And to think they've got a 19-year-old son, Jake, regional director in this company. He keeps them on track. He does. Anthony, I just want you to know that it's awesome how far you've come. But I see where you're going. Your future's fabulous. See, that's the one thing with all these people, guys. When you get to the top of the mountain, you got to keep growing. You don't want to slide back down the hill. They understand if you're green, you grow, and if you're ripe, you rot. Jim DeVault. Oh, man, I shouldn't have done this one. I mean, these testimonies. Jim DeVault. First time I met Jim DeVault, I never met anybody that has become as successful in this business that had such a wall up. He had a wall up. 44 years old. He'd spent his whole life almost making it, in his words. He had a barrier up. I didn't think we'd ever be penetrated. Gone through a terrible marriage, a terrible divorce, frustrated, living on a cot in the back of his mom's candy shop. But he hung around long enough to realize that this was real and to dream one more time. Once he realized that this was real, he got in his car and he was gone. He traveled all over this country, not just for Jim DeVault, but to tell everybody, I have found something real. He did as much for New Image as he did it for himself. He traveled all over this country telling the New Image story. 2 years later, he's living in a $500,000 home. His life's set forever. Man, this is real stuff. You got to understand, these are real people. These are real people. Pat and Bob Armstrong, working 60 hours a week in a traditional business, went through a heart attack in the middle of his building his business, had gone through a terrible drought, in debt to a degree that they thought they would never ever get out of debt. They felt like they might have to pass the debt on to their kids and their grandkids, and that's not what they wanted. And they went to work and they spent all day in a machine lawnmower shop. Bob get in his car and drive wherever to a meeting, get home at 2 or 3 in the morning, get up at 6, go to his work, his traditional business, come home. He was traveling all over going to meetings, paying the price. Why? Because he had the burn in his eyes, because he had found truth, because he had found a company that he believed in. Y'all sit back with your thumb in your mouth wondering why it ain't happening to me. You got to get real, guys. You got to get real. You got to understand it's not easy, but it's worth it. It's not easy, but it's worth it. You think what's hard is working 40 hours, living an uninspired, undisciplined life. It's time to get past that. Last two. Steve and Kim Hicks. Man, we've been together too long. I saw their old cars they were driving that they spray painted from cans at Walmart. But they had the dream and they decided, I'm not going to work for nobody else. One day it is going to happen for me. I can remember going to their house and we were both so broke we just got gas to get down there. We'd sit and eat hot dogs and beans and just think, what are we going to do? How are we going to get out of this? But you know what? We knew that someday it was going to happen for us. Roger and Rhonda Wagers quit their jobs, had faith in New Image when there was nothing here, had to move back in with their parents. Frustrated, but they never gave up on their dream, and they knew it was real, and they were willing to pay the price. Man, you've got to be willing to pay the price. Not forever, for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. Give it all you got every night, every day, thinking about it. You got to get to that point, guys. It's so much easier to do this business fast than it is piddling with it. Man, you got to leave this conference and saying, 1998, I've quit piddling. This is my year. You got to get to that point in your soul. Opportunity now. I'm a new year. I'm an unspoiled page in your book of time. I am your next chance of becoming all you can become. I am your opportunity to put into action what you have learned the last 12 months about life, other people, and your business. All that you sought for in the last 12 months but failed to find is hidden in me. I am waiting for you to search it out again with more determination, persistence, and expectancy than ever before. In me lies the potential of all you dreamed but didn't dare to do, all that you hoped for but did not perform, all that you prayed for but did not yet experience. These dreams slumber lighting, waiting to be awakened by the touch of an enduring purpose and a new vision. Just like Caleb and Joshua, you can go into 1998 focusing on one of two things, the milk and honey, the benefits of this business, or you can focus on the giants, the work. You're going to be focused in 1998 on one or the other, the work or the rewards. And when you leave here, this conference, if you don't have your game plan in place by Monday when you get home or whenever you get home, you got to have your game plan in place. Don't you wait till you get home. You do it on the airplane. You do it on the car. You do it in the car. But you get your game plan and you put it together. And guys, listen to me. This is so important. Can you stay fired up for 90 days? Just 90 days. 90 days. See, don't commit to 1998. Commit for 90 days. Say, for 90 days, I'm going to stay fired up. I'm going to do what I know I should have been doing anyway. I'm going to give it all I got for 90 days. This is what your game plan has got to be centered around. Getting yourself on the phone. Making your telephone ring. You need to get some magic ads in the paper. You need to get some billboards out. You need to order those drop cards that you ran out of 3 months ago. You need to get on with it. You need to start going through what? Numbers. Numbers. Do more numbers in 90 days than you did all last year. For some of you, that wouldn't be no big deal. Can you do it for 90 days? All you got to do is 90 days. And at the end of 90 days, then you stop. And you quit. And you say, do I want to keep on doing it or do I not? And if you do it 90 more. And then you stop. And you say, we're going to keep on or we're going to quit. No, we do it 90 more. You put 4 90-day runs back to back, and 1998 is going to be a fabulous year for you. But don't think about the whole year. Think about how many days? 90 days. Can you do it for 90 days? Yes. Just 90 days. And see, we're going to know whether you do, whether you don't. Right? We're going to know April 1, tax day, 15th. Are you with me? Yes. Resolve says, I will. I will. I will climb this mountain. They told me it was too high, too far, too steep, too rocky, and too difficult. But it's my mountain. I'm going to climb it. You will soon see me waving from the top or dead on the side from trying. Man, I love that. I love that. Each one of you here, we went all out this weekend. I asked our speakers to give it all they had, to give it everything they got, and I tell you what, they've done a fabulous job, each and every one of them. The next 90 days, the most important thing you can do for 90 days is to remove all doubt. Decide to not let yourself not believe in you for 90 days. When doubt comes, and it will come, you got to cancel it out. See, this business, guys, is built in your bathroom between your ears looking in your mirror. It's easy to get fired up at a conference, but after you've worked 8 or 10 hours in a day, you've had a terrible day, you come home, you got 1 or 2 choices. Lay down and go to sleep and forget about it, or have some supper with your family, drink some juice boost, lay down for 15 minutes, get refreshed, get up, slap your face, and get on the phone. See, that's what separates the winners from the losers. It's in the quiet times when it's just you and your heart and your soul and your mind and your reasons. That's where this business is built. It's not built at the weekly meeting. It's built those other nights of the week when you know what you should be doing. That's where it's built, guys. That's where it's built. And I want to talk to you one more time in this last little statement here. I want you to understand that it's not for the person on your right, and it's not for the person on your left. It's me and you. It's me and you. And the thing that I would tell you, if I could talk to each one of you individually, is that you've lived all your life up to this moment in time to come to this day, January 10th, 1998. This is your day of decision. You have the chance to create a new vision of what is possible for you. The choice is yours. Create a new vision or repeat your past in the future. I hope you make the right choice. God bless you. I love you. We'll see you in August.